What if everything we've been taught about ancient history is missing a crucial piece of the puzzle? Picture this: scattered across the globe, hidden in plain sight, lie the ruins of civilizations that shouldn't have known each other's secrets. Yet here they are, separated by oceans and millennia, sharing the same precise astronomical alignments, the same cryptic symbols etched into stone, the same architectural feats that defy explanation. These aren't just random relics of the past, they're fragments of something far bigger, a lost network of intelligence, a web of knowledge that connected distant cultures long before the rise of modern civilization. From the labyrinthine tunnels beneath the pyramids of Giza to the overgrown temples of Cambodia, from the megalithic wonders of South America to the enigmatic stone circles of Europe, these ruins tell a story that doesn't fit into our textbooks. How did ancient builders without satellites or blueprints construct monuments aligned with celestial precision? Why do symbols found in Egypt appear halfway across the world in Mesoamerica? And what could explain the sudden leaps in technology and knowledge that appear in cultures with no recorded contact? The answers might lie buried in these crumbling stones, waiting to be deciphered. This isn't just a journey through ruins, it's a detective story spanning thousands of years. We'll explore 21 of the most baffling sites on Earth, each one a clue in a mystery that challenges everything we thought we knew. Were these places linked by a forgotten global intelligence network? Did ancient travelers, scholars, or even an unknown civilization share secrets across continents? As we peel back the layers of time, you'll see the connections emerge. Patterns too precise to be coincidence, designs too similar to be accidental. So come with us as we step into the shadows of these ancient structures, where every cracked pillar and weathered inscription might hold the key to rewriting history. The truth is out there, hidden in plain sight. All we have to do is look. Hidden beneath the windswept hills of southeastern Turkey, Göbekli Tepe stands as one of the most astonishing archaeological discoveries of our time. This sprawling complex of massive stone pillars, arranged in precise circles, wasn't built by farmers or simple hunter-gatherers, at least not according to conventional history. Dating back nearly 12,000 years, it predates the invention of pottery, writing, or even settled agriculture. Yet here, in this ancient landscape, someone carved towering megaliths with intricate reliefs of animals, symbols, and abstract designs with a skill that defies explanation. The mystery deepens when you consider how these builders aligned the stones. Certain pillars point toward celestial events like solstices and equinoxes, suggesting a sophisticated grasp of astronomy, knowledge that shouldn't exist in a world still thousands of years away from the first cities of Mesopotamia. Even more puzzling, Göbekli Tepe wasn't abandoned or left to decay. It was carefully, deliberately buried under layers of earth, as if someone wanted to preserve it or hide it. Why go to such lengths unless this site held secrets too important to lose? Some researchers argue that Göbekli Tepe wasn't an isolated project. The symbols etched into its pillars bear uncanny resemblances to motifs found in distant cultures, from the caves of Europe to the temples of ancient India. Could this have been a meeting place for a forgotten elite, a hub where knowledge was shared across continents? The sheer scale of the construction hints at organized labor, even a hierarchy of thinkers and builders working toward a common goal. And if that's true, then who were these people? Were they part of a global network, a civilization lost to time, or something even more extraordinary? What makes Göbekli Tepe so compelling isn't just its age. It's the unsettling possibility that our timeline of human progress might be incomplete. This wasn't a primitive shrine. It was a masterpiece of engineering and artistry created by minds we're only beginning to understand. And if a site like this could vanish beneath the dirt for millennia, what else might still be waiting to be uncovered? As we move to the next ruin, keep this question in mind because the connections between these ancient sites only grow stranger from here. The Great Pyramid of Giza doesn't just dominate the skyline, it defies logic. Built over 4,500 years ago, this colossal structure isn't merely a tomb for a pharaoh. It's a mathematical masterpiece, a monument so precise that modern engineers still struggle to explain its secrets. Take the ratio of its perimeter to its height, multiply it by 2, and you get pi, the fundamental constant of circles, accurate to within a fraction of a percent. How did ancient builders, working without calculators or advanced geometry, embed this sophisticated knowledge into stone? Then there's the pyramid's alignment. Its 4 sides face true north, south, east, and west with near-perfect accuracy, deviating by less than a fraction of a degree. To achieve this without compasses or satellites would require an understanding of astronomy far beyond what we've credited to the ancient Egyptians. Some researchers point to the pyramid's shafts, which align with specific stars like Sirius and Orion's belt, not just in the era it was built, but in an even older epoch, as if the builders were encoding a message from deep time. But here's where the mystery deepens. The pyramid's dimensions mirror the proportions of our planet. Scale its height by a factor of 43,200, and you get Earth's polar radius. Its perimeter, that matches the planet's circumference at the equator when multiplied by the same number. These aren't random coincidences. They're deliberate, intentional design choices, proof that whoever planned this structure possessed knowledge of the Earth's size and shape millennia before modern science confirmed it. Could the Great Pyramid have been more than a tomb? Some theorists propose it was a global beacon, a node in an ancient network of sacred sites sharing advanced knowledge. Its inner chambers resonate at frequencies that match the Earth's natural vibrations, leading to speculation it might have functioned as a kind of energy transmitter or communication device. And then there are the symbols, carvings, and geometric patterns found inside that resemble those in distant ruins, from Mesopotamia to Central America, as if part of a shared architectural language. The most compelling question isn't how the pyramid was built, but why. What were the builders trying to preserve or communicate across millennia? If this was the work of a secretive society, as some suggest, their legacy isn't just in the stones. It's in the unsettling realization that our ancestors might have known far more than we've ever imagined. As we turn to the next ruin, remember, these structures aren't isolated wonders. They're pieces of a puzzle, and the picture they form is far stranger than history books dare to admit. Rising from the turquoise waters of the Pacific lies a ruin so baffling, it seems to defy the laws of physics. Nan Madol, a sprawling complex of 92 artificial islands built atop coral reefs, is often called the Venice of the Pacific, but this comparison barely scratches the surface of its mystery. The city's foundations are constructed from colossal basalt logs, each weighing up to 50 tons, stacked like Lincoln logs in perfect geometric formations. These aren't just random stones, they're hexagonal and octagonal columns, precision cut from volcanic rock, some transported over 25 miles across open ocean. How did ancient builders achieve this without cranes or barges? Local oral traditions offer a tantalizing clue. Legends speak of twin sorcerers, Olasipa and Olasopa, who supposedly levitated the stones into place using magical incantations. While modern science dismisses such tales, the logistical reality is equally perplexing. even today, moving basalt columns of this size would require advanced engineering. Yet Nan Madol's builders somehow orchestrated this feat around 1,200 years ago, in a culture with no known writing system or wheel technology. The site's purpose deepens the enigma. Unlike typical island settlements, Nan Madol's canals and walls suggest it was a ceremonial and administrative hub, a place of power and knowledge. Its central temple, Nan Dawas, features walls 18 feet thick, with hidden chambers and underwater tunnels that some researchers believe could have been used for acoustic rituals or even secret meetings. Even more intriguing, the city's layout mirrors celestial patterns with key structures aligned to solstices and the movement of Venus, much like distant sites in Mesoamerica and Egypt. Could Nan Madol have been a node in a maritime intelligence network? Its location is suspiciously strategic, positioned at a crossroads of Pacific currents. It would have been an ideal hub for seafaring cultures sharing knowledge across vast distances. Basalt similar to Nan Madol's has been found in ruins as far away as Polynesia, hinting at trade routes or cultural exchanges we've yet to fully understand. And then there's the eerie coincidence of its sudden abandonment. Around 500 years ago, the city was deserted, with legends claiming its rulers angered the gods. But what if the truth was more earthly, a disruption in whatever network sustained it? The real shock isn't just that Nan Madol exists. It's that its builders left no blueprints, no records, only whispers in local lore and stones that refuse to reveal their secrets. As we piece together these clues, one thing becomes clear. This wasn't just a city, it was a statement, a testament to a forgotten chapter of human ingenuity. And if a place like this could vanish into myth, what other chapters of our past remain waiting beneath the waves? Teotihuacan rises from the Mexican highlands like a geometric dream, a city so meticulously planned, it feels like it was designed by architects with a cosmic blueprint. Unlike the haphazard sprawl of most ancient settlements, Teotihuacan's streets form a perfect grid, aligned with uncanny precision to celestial events. The Avenue of the Dead, its central thoroughfare, runs exactly 15.5 degrees east of true north, pointing directly to the setting of the Pleiades star cluster on key dates. Its two massive pyramids, the Pyramid of the Sun and the Pyramid of the Moon, aren't just stacked stones. They're mathematical marvels. The Pyramid of the Sun's base perimeter equals the number of days in a solar year when measured in a specific ancient unit, while its height mirrors the distance between Earth and the Sun scaled down by a factor of 100 million. But the real enigma lies in the city's sudden rise. Around 2,000 years ago, Teotihuacan emerged as one of the largest cities in the world, home to over 100,000 people, yet no one knows who built it. The Aztecs, who discovered its ruins centuries later, named it the place where men become gods, convinced it was the work of divine hands. The murals tell an even stranger story. Beneath layers of faded pigment, figures with elongated skulls and almond-shaped eyes gaze from the walls, their bodies draped in symbolic garments unlike anything seen in neighboring cultures. Some hold objects resembling tools or instruments, while others float mid-air as if defying gravity. Archaeologists have long debated whether these images represent deities, rulers, or something far more provocative: visitors. What's undeniable is that Teotihuacan became a melting pot of knowledge. Artifacts found here trace back to the Maya, Zapotec, and even distant Andean cultures, suggesting the city was a crossroads for intellectuals, scientists, and traders. Its obsidian workshops produced blades so sharp they rival modern surgical steel, while its architects engineered a hydraulic system that channeled water with gravity-defying efficiency. The most haunting question isn't how Teotihuacan flourished, but why it fell. around the 7th century, the city burned, not in conquest, but in what appears to have been a deliberate, systematic destruction, as if someone wanted to erase its secrets. The fires targeted specific buildings, libraries, temples, and the homes of elites. Whoever orchestrated this knew exactly where to strike. Was it an uprising, a purge of forbidden knowledge, or the collapse of a network that once connected this city to other centers of learning across the globe? Standing atop the Pyramid of the Sun today, you can see the entire valley stretch out below, a testament to a civilization that understood the stars, the earth, and perhaps forces we're only beginning to rediscover. The stones whisper of a time when borders between cultures might have been far more porous than we imagine, when ideas flowed as freely as the water in Teotihuacan's canals. And if that's true, then what else might have been lost in the flames? Standing silent on England's Salisbury Plain, Stonehenge has puzzled scholars for centuries. At first glance, it's a ring of towering stones, some weighing over 25 tons, hauled from quarries nearly 150 miles away. But look closer, and the genius of its design becomes clear. The monument's central axis aligns perfectly with the summer solstice sunrise and the winter solstice sunset, capturing the sun's rays like a prehistoric camera obscura. This isn't just a coincidence, it's proof of an advanced understanding of celestial cycles, encoded in stone over 4,500 years ago. Recent excavations reveal Stonehenge was never meant to stand alone. Beneath the surrounding grasslands lies a vast ceremonial landscape, a network of burial mounds, processional avenues, and even a massive circle of timber posts predating the stones themselves. This was more than a temple. It was a ritual hub, a place where ancient astronomers might have tracked lunar eclipses, planetary movements, and even the 18.6-year cycle of the moon's wobble. The precision of these alignments suggests knowledge passed down through generations, possibly refined by a privileged class of sky watchers. What's truly startling are the connections stretching far beyond Britain. The same solstice alignments appear in megalithic sites across Europe, from the Karnak stones in France to the sun temples of Malta. Even more intriguing, the bluestones at Stonehenge's center were transported from Wales' Preseli Hills, a region rich in prehistoric mines and sacred springs. Isotopic analysis of human remains found nearby shows some individuals spent their early lives in those distant Welsh highlands before traveling to Stonehenge. Were they pilgrims, scholars, or perhaps emissaries of a shared tradition? Theories abound. Some researchers propose Stonehenge functioned as a prehistoric university, where Neolithic elites exchanged astronomical data and spiritual teachings. Others point to its acoustic properties. When struck, certain stones produce resonant tones that could have been used in rituals or even long-distance communication. Then there's the eerie similarity between its circular design and later Bronze Age structures in Scandinavia and Iberia, as if a cultural blueprint had spread across the continent. But the greatest mystery isn't how Stonehenge was built, it's why its creators abandoned it. Around 3,000 years ago, activity at the site abruptly ceased. The alignments fell out of use, the processional routes grew over, and the knowledge behind its construction faded into myth. Was this the collapse of a pan-European network, a dark age erasing centuries of accumulated wisdom? Or did the guardians of these secrets simply move on, taking their celestial knowledge to new horizons? As the stones stand sentinel under modern skies, they remind us that some truths are written not in books, but in the silent language of the earth itself. Hidden deep in the Cambodian jungle, Angkor Wat stretches across the landscape like a stone echo of the cosmos itself. This sprawling temple complex, built in the 12th century, isn't just an architectural wonder, it's a celestial map. When viewed from above, its towers, moats, and causeways align with stunning precision to mirror the stars of the constellation Draco as they appeared in the night sky over 10,000 years ago. That's no accident. The builders didn't just replicate random star patterns. They froze a specific moment in time, embedding it into the very foundations of their sacred city. The astronomical genius of Angkor Wat becomes even clearer when you examine its measurements. The temple's central tower stands exactly 54 meters tall, a number that corresponds to key cycles in Hindu cosmology. Its outer gallery walls are adorned with bas-reliefs depicting not just myths, but precise celestial events. One panel shows a solar eclipse so accurately rendered that modern astronomers have pinpointed it to the year 666. Another captures the rare alignment of Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, an event that occurs only once every 739 years. How did the Khmer people, without telescopes or written records of prior observations, encode such intricate knowledge into stone? Legends offer a tantalizing clue. Local texts speak of a divine architect, Vishvakarman, who designed the temple after receiving visions from the gods. But some researchers propose a more startling theory. The layout of Angkor Wat might preserve fragments of an even older astronomical tradition passed down from a forgotten civilization. The temple's alignment to Draco's ancient position suggests its builders had access to star charts millennia older than their own culture, even more compelling. Similar celestial alignments appear in distant sites like Egypt's Giza Plateau and Peru's Nazca Lines, as if multiple cultures were referencing the same archaic sky maps. The mystery doesn't end with the stars. Angkor Wat's hydraulic system is an engineering marvel, with reservoirs and canals that could have functioned as a giant mirror reflecting the heavens to create a living observatory. During certain equinoxes, the sun rises directly over the central tower, casting shadows that align with hidden carvings of serpents, symbolizing the cosmic axis. This level of precision implies a deep understanding of celestial mechanics, possibly cultivated by a secretive priesthood or imported from an advanced precursor culture. What happened to this knowledge? By the 15th century, Angkor Wat lay abandoned, its libraries empty, its astronomers vanished. The jungle reclaimed its halls, leaving only the stones to whisper of a time when humans built monuments not just to honor the gods, but to commune with the universe itself. As we stand beneath its towering spires today, we're left wondering, were the builders of Angkor Wat merely brilliant astronomers, or were they the last guardians of a cosmic science much older than history remembers? Etched into the arid plains of southern Peru, the Nazca Lines stretch across nearly 200 square miles of desert like a colossal sketchbook left open to the sky. These aren't just simple drawings, they're intricate geoglyphs, some spanning over 1,200 feet, depicting spiders, hummingbirds, monkeys, and geometric patterns so precise they could only be fully appreciated from the air. That's the first mystery. Why create art invisible from the ground? The ancient Nazca people, who flourished between 200 BC and 600 CE, had no known flying technology. Yet they designed these figures with mathematical perfection, using rudimentary tools to scrape away the dark surface pebbles and reveal the lighter earth beneath. The precision is staggering. Straight lines run for miles without deviating even an inch, crossing ravines and hills as if the terrain didn't exist. Spirals and trapezoids align with solstice sunrises, while certain animal glyphs mirror constellations visible during key agricultural cycles. Some researchers argue these were ritual pathways walked by priests during ceremonies. Others propose they functioned as a giant astronomical calendar, tracking celestial events to guide planting and harvests. But the most provocative theory suggests the lines were part of a vast communication network, not for humans but for beings who could view them from above. Local legends speak of the Viracochas, sky gods who descended from the stars, bringing knowledge before vanishing into the heavens. Could the Nazca have created these glyphs as messages or landing markers for such visitors? The idea gains traction when you examine the region's other anomalies. Nearby, archaeologists have uncovered elongated skulls, deliberately shaped in childhood, resembling figures depicted in the glyphs. Even more intriguing are the Puquio's ancient spiral wells that tap into underground aquifers with an engineering sophistication that defies the era's known technology. Were these all pieces of a larger puzzle? Then there's the eerie overlap with distant cultures. Similar ground drawings appear in Chile's Atacama Desert and Kazakhstan's Ural Mountains, while the spider glyph at Nazca eerily mirrors the star pattern of Orion's belt, just like the shafts inside Egypt's Great Pyramid. Coincidence or evidence of a shared cosmic language? The Nazca's sudden disappearance around the 6th century only deepens the enigma. Their cities were abandoned, their knowledge seemingly lost, leaving behind these cryptic lines as their only testament. Today, as drones and satellites reveal new glyphs hidden beneath the dust, one thing becomes clear. The Nazca lines weren't just art. They were a deliberate, calculated effort to encode something vital, whether for gods, ancestors, or a future civilization like ours, finally capable of seeing their work from the skies. The real question isn't how they made them, but what they were trying to say. And if we could decipher it, would we even understand the answer? Beneath the crystal-clear waters off Japan's Yonaguni Island, a series of massive stone formations rise from the ocean floor like the steps of a sunken city. These are the Yonaguni monument terraces, walls, and even what appear to be carved pillars, all resting at depths of up to 90 feet. The most striking feature is a towering structure nicknamed the Turtle, a 5-tiered platform with edges so sharp, angles so precise, they seem to defy the randomness of nature. Geologists remain divided. Some insist these are nothing more than unusual sandstone formations, shaped over millennia by tidal erosion. But others point to the straight lines, the perfect right angles, the symmetrical staircases, details that don't occur naturally in sedimentary rock. If human hands carved these structures, the implications rewrite history. Dating the site only deepens the mystery. Sea level studies suggest this area was last above water around 10,000 years ago, during the end of the last ice age. That predates Japan's oldest known civilization by thousands of years. So who could have built it? Local legends speak of a lost kingdom, a land called Mu that sank beneath the waves in a cataclysm. Intriguingly, the Yonaguni structures bear a striking resemblance to megalithic sites in Peru and Bolivia, particularly the terraced pyramids of Sacsayhuaman. Even more compelling are the tool marks found on some stones, parallel grooves that match those left by ancient quarrying techniques. Then there's the placement. The main monument aligns with the cardinal directions, while smaller surrounding formations seem positioned to track solstice sunrises. Underwater archaeologist Masaki Kimura, who has studied the site for decades, claims to have identified carvings resembling human faces and animal figures, along with a massive stone slab covered in what could be ancient script. Skeptics dismiss these as pareidolia, the human brain seeing patterns where none exist. But if even a fraction of these details are intentional, Yonaguni becomes evidence of a sophisticated prehistoric culture, one capable of large-scale construction at a time when mainstream archaeology insists humans were simple hunter-gatherers. The most haunting question isn't just who built these structures, but why they're underwater. Was this a coastal city swallowed by rising seas? A ceremonial site deliberately submerged? Or could it have been part of a network of coastal hubs, now lost to the ocean? As divers glide through the silent corridors of Yonaguni, they're left with a chilling thought. If ruins like these exist off Japan's coast, how many more might be hidden beneath the world's oceans, waiting to rewrite our understanding of human history? Herodotus, the ancient Greek historian, once described a marvel so immense it dwarfed even the pyramids, the Labyrinth of Hawara. Located near Egypt's Fayum oasis, this legendary underground complex was said to contain 3,000 rooms, their walls covered in sacred hieroglyphs and astronomical charts, their corridors twisting like a stone serpent beneath the desert. According to Herodotus, who visited in the 5th century BC, the labyrinth's builders intended it as a grand archive, a repository for all the knowledge of the ancient world. But today, only scattered foundation stones remain, buried under centuries of sand, leaving us to wonder, was this the Alexandria library of its time, or something even more extraordinary? Modern excavations reveal tantalizing clues. Ground-penetrating radar has detected vast subterranean chambers beneath the site, matching Herodotus' descriptions. Nearby, archaeologists uncovered fragments of papyrus bearing advanced mathematical calculations and star maps, suggesting the labyrinth's priests might have been custodians of sophisticated sciences. Even more intriguing are the accounts of medieval Arab historians who claimed the structure housed books of wisdom from lost civilizations, including detailed histories of Atlantis. Could this have been a global knowledge bank where scholars from distant lands gathered to share secrets? The labyrinth's design hints at a deeper purpose. Ancient texts describe its layout as a mirror of the cosmos, with each section corresponding to a celestial body or sacred number. The few surviving reliefs show priests holding peculiar devices, some resembling astrolabes, others echoing the enigmatic dendera-light carvings found in nearby temples. Then there's the mystery of its sudden disappearance. By the Roman era, the labyrinth was already in ruins, its contents looted or hidden. Some theorists suggest its knowledge was deliberately scattered, smuggled to secretive schools like the Hermeticists or the Library of Alexandria before vanishing entirely. What makes Hawara so compelling isn't just its scale, it's the possibility that this might have been the nerve center of an ancient intellectual network. If even a fraction of the legends are true, its halls could have connected Egyptian astronomers, Greek philosophers, and Mesopotamian mathematicians in a shared pursuit of understanding. As the sands continue to guard its secrets, one question lingers. If we ever uncover its buried chambers, what forgotten truths might finally come to light? The answer could rewrite not just Egypt's history, but humanity's. High on the windswept plains of Bolivia, near the shores of Lake Titicaca, the ruins of Tiahuanaco stand as a monument to an engineering prowess that shouldn't exist. This ancient metropolis, built at an altitude of over 12,000 feet, defies logic with its megalithic structures, stones weighing up to 130 tons, cut with laser-like precision and fitted together without mortar. The joints are so tight, so flawless, that not even a razor blade can slip between them. Modern engineers still can't replicate these techniques with the tools the Tiahuanaco people are believed to have possessed. So how did they do it? At the heart of the mystery is the Gate of the Sun, a towering arch carved from a single block of andesite. Its surface is etched with intricate reliefs of winged figures, their heads radiating like halos, their hands clutching objects that resemble scepters or tools. Some scholars interpret these as depictions of gods or celestial beings, but others see something more provocative, an elite class of rulers or knowledge keepers immortalized in stone. The figures are arranged in 3 rows, with the central figure larger than the rest, suggesting hierarchy. Even more intriguing, The gate's alignment corresponds to astronomical events, marking the solstices and possibly even tracking the precession of the equinoxes, a cycle that takes 26,000 years to complete. The sophistication doesn't stop there. Nearby, the Puma Punku complex is a surreal showcase of geometric perfection. H-shaped blocks with identical notches, drilled holes with mathematical consistency, and interlocking stones that resemble modern prefabrication. One slab, known as the electroplate stone, bears grooves so precise they look machined. Local legends claim the site was built in a single night by giants or visitors from the stars. While that might sound like myth, the alternative, that an ancient culture mastered advanced stone cutting and astronomical science without leaving behind a single blueprint, is equally staggering. What happened to the builders? Tiahuanaco's decline around 1,000 years ago remains unexplained. The city wasn't destroyed by invaders or natural disaster. It was abandoned as if its people simply walked away. Some researchers speculate they were part of a network that collapsed, cutting off trade routes or shared knowledge. Others point to climate shifts that drained Lake Titicaca's waters, disrupting agriculture. But the most haunting possibility is that Tiahuanaco's secrets were deliberately carried elsewhere, hidden by those who understood their value. Today, as archaeologists uncover new artifacts, a carved cup depicting a toxodon, an animal extinct for thousands of years before Tiahuanaco's rise, or a ceramic fragment showing a man in what looks like a spacesuit, the questions only multiply. Were these people the inheritors of an even older civilization's wisdom, or did they develop their genius in isolation, only to vanish before they could pass it on? The stones of Tiahuanaco don't whisper, they shout, and what they're saying could rewrite everything we know about the ancient world. Beneath the quiet villages of Zhejiang province in China, a labyrinth of caves stretches through the earth like the hollowed-out bones of some ancient giant. The Longue caves, discovered in 1992 by a curious farmer draining a pond, are no natural formations. They're man-made, carved with staggering precision into solid sandstone over 2,000 years ago. But here's what makes them impossible to ignore: the scale. 36 massive chambers have been uncovered so far, each one large enough to hold a modern aircraft hangar, their ceilings supported by towering stone pillars spaced with mathematical regularity. The walls are covered in uniform chisel marks, a herringbone pattern so consistent it looks machine-made. Yet no records, no tools, and no traces of the millions of tons of removed stone have ever been found. What were these caverns for? Local legends speak of emperors hiding treasure or secret armies, but the truth might be stranger. The cave's layout reveals an eerie sophistication. Despite being dug at different depths and angles, every chamber maintains a near-identical slope of 30 degrees, a feature that prevents collapse and ensures structural integrity, something modern engineers wouldn't master until the 19th century. Even more puzzling are the acoustic properties. Certain chambers amplify sound in ways that suggest ritual or ceremonial use, while others seem designed to deaden noise entirely, as if to conceal activity. Then there's the symbology. Carved into the walls are cryptic reliefs of birds, fish, and celestial patterns, motifs found in other ancient Chinese sites linked to astronomical observation. The biggest enigma isn't the how, but the why. Why expend such effort to hollow out a mountain with no apparent practical purpose? Some researchers propose the caves were part of a vast underground network, a hidden university or library where knowledge was preserved away from wars and dynastic upheavals. Others point to their alignment with nearby rivers and mountains, suggesting they functioned as a hydraulic system or even an ancient seismic dampener, stabilizing the region against earthquakes. But the most tantalizing clue lies in their resemblance to subterranean structures halfway across the world, from Turkey's Derinkuyu to Peru's Chavin de Huanta, as if multiple cultures shared a blueprint for carving secrets into the earth itself. What silenced the Longue caves, unlike other ruins, there's no evidence of collapse or invasion. They were simply abandoned, their entrances sealed, their existence wiped from memory until that chance discovery in the 20th century. Were they a refuge for a forgotten elite, a repository for knowledge too dangerous to leave in the open, or perhaps a meeting place for minds we can no longer imagine? As the caves stand empty today, their walls seem to hum with the echoes of questions we're only beginning to ask. Deep beneath the rocky landscape of Cappadocia, Turkey, lies an underground metropolis so vast it could have sheltered 20,000 people during Derinkuyu. This isn't just a network of caves, it's a meticulously planned city descending 18 levels into the earth, with schools, stables, wineries, and even places of worship carved from the living rock. The engineering is staggering. A ventilation system of over 15,000 shafts ensures fresh air circulates to the lowest chambers, while massive stone doors, each weighing up to half a ton, could seal off entire sections in an instant. This wasn't just a refuge, it was a fortress designed to disappear. The question isn't just how they built it, but why they needed something this elaborate. Conventional history suggests early Christians dug Derinkuyu as a hideout from Roman persecution around the 7th or 8th century. But the deeper you go literally and figuratively, the less that theory holds up. Carbon dating reveals some sections are far older, possibly dating back to the Hittite era around 1200 BCE. Even more puzzling are the tools that would have been required. The rock here is volcanic tuff, hard enough to demand metal implements, yet soft enough to erode over time. Yet the walls show no signs of chisel marks or hammer strikes, just smooth, finished surfaces as if the stone had been molded like clay. Then there's the sheer scale of coordination. Derinkuyu connects to other underground cities via miles of tunnels, forming a subterranean network that could have housed entire populations. Some passages are wide enough for 3 people to walk abreast, while others narrow to squeeze points, perfect for ambushing invaders. The city's water wells tap into underground rivers, and its waste shafts suggest an understanding of sanitation that wouldn't become standard in Europe for another 1,000 years. Who had this level of urban planning expertise in antiquity? Local folklore offers a cryptic clue. Ancient texts speak of the Anunnaki, a race of beings who descended from the sky to teach humanity the arts of civilization. Could Derinkuyu have been their work? Or was it the product of a lost human society that mastered engineering techniques we've since forgotten? The most compelling evidence might lie in what's missing: no records, no builders' signatures, no traces of the millions of tons of excavated rock. It's as if the city's architects wanted no credit, only secrecy. What were they hiding from? Invasion seems too simple an answer. The care taken to conceal Derinkuyu suggests something far more existential, a threat that couldn't be fought, only waited out. And if that's true, then what finally drew its inhabitants back to the surface? The tunnels stand empty now, a monument to paranoia or perhaps preparedness. But the real mystery isn't why it was built. It's whether the people who carved this labyrinth ever truly left, or if their descendants walk among us today, keeping the secrets of Derinkuyu buried where no one would think to look. Buried along the banks of the Indus River, the ruins of Mohenjo-Daro rise like a ghostly blueprint from a forgotten age. This wasn't just a settlement, it was a meticulously planned metropolis. Its streets laid out in perfect grids, its buildings constructed with standardized bricks so uniform they could have been mass-produced. Dating back over 4,500 years, This city predates Rome by millennia, yet its urban design rivals modern planning. Wide avenues intersect at right angles, dividing neighborhoods into precise blocks, while an intricate drainage system snakes beneath the streets, complete with covered sewers and household water channels. This wasn't haphazard construction. It was the work of master engineers who understood hydraulics, sanitation, and city-scale organization long before the rest of the world caught up. The sophistication of Mohenjo-Daro becomes even more striking when you examine the details. Homes featured indoor bathrooms connected to the city's central sewage lines, a luxury Europe wouldn't see for another 4,000 years. Public wells were spaced at regular intervals, ensuring clean water access for all citizens. But the real marvel is what's missing: no grand temples, no palaces, no obvious seats of power. Unlike other ancient cities built around gods or kings, Mohenjo-Daro seems to have prioritized equality and function. Its largest structure is a communal bathhouse, the Great Bath, lined with waterproof bitumen and fed by an elaborate system of pipes. Was this a city ruled by scholars rather than warriors, where knowledge trumped hierarchy? Then there's the mystery of its script. Thousands of seals and tablets bear an intricate writing system that remains undeciphered to this day. The symbols share eerie similarities with later scripts from Mesopotamia and Easter Island, hinting at a cultural exchange we've yet to uncover. Even more perplexing are the artifacts: a bronze figurine of a dancer with anatomical precision unmatched in its era, a carved stone weight so exact it matches the modern pound within a fraction of a gram. These weren't the products of a fledgling society. They're the hallmarks of a civilization that had already refined its crafts to near perfection. What happened to these people? Mohenjo-Daro's demise is as enigmatic as its rise. Around 1900 BC, the city was abandoned, its streets emptied, its knowledge seemingly lost. Some theories point to climate change or river shifts, but the most haunting clue comes from the ruins themselves. In one district, archaeologists found skeletal remains scattered in the streets, some with signs of sudden, violent death. Yet there's no evidence of invasion, no weapons, no burned buildings, just a city frozen in time, as if its inhabitants fled something invisible. The most compelling question isn't how Mohenjo-Daro fell, but how it existed in the first place. Cities this advanced don't appear out of nowhere. Were its planners the inheritors of an even older civilization's wisdom, a precursor culture lost to the rising waters of history? Or did they develop their genius in isolation, only to vanish before they could pass it on? As the Indus script continues to defy translation, the stones of Mohenjo-Daro whisper a tantalizing possibility. This wasn't just a city. It was a relic of something far grander, a network of knowledge that once spanned continents, now buried beneath the dust of time. Standing like silent sentinels along the windswept coast of Brittany, the Karnak stones form one of the most perplexing megalithic landscapes on Earth. Over 3,000 weathered monoliths stretch across nearly 4 miles of French countryside, arranged in eerie, precise rows that seem to march toward some unseen horizon. Unlike the chaotic scatter of most ancient stone sites, Karnak's alignments are methodical, some rows running arrows straight for hundreds of meters, others curving into geometric arcs as if tracing invisible celestial paths. The sheer scale is staggering. The largest stones, known as the Menek alignments, tower over 13 feet tall and weigh upwards of 50 tons, yet they're placed with such uniformity that the gaps between them rarely vary by more than a hand's width. This wasn't haphazard construction. It was a calculated, almost mathematical act, one that defies the conventional timeline of Neolithic Europe. What were these stones meant to accomplish? Local legends speak of a Roman legion turned to stone by the wizard Merlin. but the truth might lie in the earth and sky. Many of the alignments point toward significant solar and lunar events: the summer solstice sunrise, the equinox moonrise, suggesting Karnak functioned as a colossal open-air observatory. Even more intriguing are the clusters of smaller stones that appear to map constellations or planetary movements. Researcher Alexander Thom, who surveyed the site extensively, proposed that the entire complex could have been used to predict eclipses with uncanny accuracy. Imagine it, a prehistoric civilization, thousands of years before written history, tracking celestial cycles with nothing but stone and patience. The mystery deepens when you consider the broader context. Karnak stones aren't isolated. They're part of a vast network of megalithic sites stretching from Portugal to Sweden, many sharing similar alignments and construction techniques. The nearby Gavrinis Passage tomb, for instance, features carvings of spirals and zigzags that mirror symbols found in Ireland's Newgrange and even Malta's Hypogeum sites, separated by thousands of miles and centuries. Were these distant cultures in contact, or did they inherit fragments of the same lost knowledge? Then there's the enigma of the builders themselves. The Karnak alignments date back to around 4500 BCE, a time when Europe was supposedly populated by scattered hunter-gatherers. Yet moving and erecting stones of this size would have required not just manpower, but an organized society with engineers, astronomers, and laborers working in concert. No tools, no quarries, and no written records from this era have ever been found. It's as if the stones appeared fully formed, their purpose known only to those who placed them. The most haunting question isn't what Karnak was for, it's why it was abandoned. By the Bronze Age, the site had fallen into disuse, its alignments ignored, its knowledge seemingly forgotten. Was this the collapse of a pan-European spiritual tradition, the silencing of a priestly class who once read the stars like a map, or perhaps something more deliberate, a decision to bury old wisdom as new empires rose? As the Breton mists swirl around these ancient monoliths today, they seem to guard their secrets as tightly as ever. And if we could read their silent language, what forgotten chapters of human history might they reveal? Perched on the rocky plains of central Turkey, the ruins of Hattusa whisper of an empire that once bridged worlds. This wasn't just the capital of the Hittites, it was a nerve center of ancient diplomacy, a place where scribes meticulously recorded treaties, letters, and laws on thousands of clay tablets. But what makes Hattusa extraordinary isn't just its scale. It's the revelation that these archives contain correspondence with rulers as far away as Egypt, Babylon, and even Mycenaean Greece. How did a Bronze Age city, surrounded by mountains and hundreds of miles from the sea, maintain such far-reaching connections? The answer might lie in the tunnels. Beneath Hattusa's imposing stone gates and temple complexes, archaeologists have uncovered a labyrinth of underground passages, some wide enough for chariots, others so narrow they suggest covert movement. These weren't just escape routes, they connected key administrative buildings, creating a hidden network beneath the city's streets. Even more telling are the archives themselves. Among the 30,000 tablets recovered, one stands out: the Treaty of Kadesh, a peace agreement between the Hittites and Egypt's Ramses Roman II, written in both Akkadian and hieroglyphics. This wasn't just diplomacy. It was a sophisticated exchange of languages, customs, and possibly even espionage techniques. The Hittites didn't just communicate with their neighbors, they studied them. Tablets detail meticulous observations of foreign courts, from Assyrian military tactics to the dietary habits of Babylonian elites. Some even contain what appear to be cipher systems, suggesting encoded messages. Could Hattusa have been the hub of an ancient intelligence network, where scribes doubled as analysts and envoys served as spies? The city's strategic location supports this theory. Situated at the crossroads of Anatolia, it controlled vital trade routes linking Mesopotamia to the Aegean, making it the perfect listening post for regional power shifts. Then there's the mystery of Hattusa's downfall. Around 1200 BCE, the city burned, but this wasn't the work of invaders. Evidence suggests the Hittites themselves set the blaze, systematically destroying their palaces and temples before abandoning the capital. Why some tablets hint at looming threats: drought, famine, or perhaps internal unrest. But the most compelling clue comes from a set of tablets deliberately buried in ceramic jars, preserved like time capsules. Among them were maps, not just of Hittite lands, but of distant regions, complete with notes on resources and alliances. Were these the blueprints of a network that stretched across the ancient world, saved at the last moment by scribes who knew their value? Today, as scholars painstakingly translate these tablets, a pattern emerges. The Hittites weren't isolated. They were intermediaries, weaving a web of alliances and intelligence that spanned continents. And if a city like Hattusa could vanish so completely, leaving only fragments of its archives behind, what other diplomatic networks might have been lost to time? The stones of this forgotten capital don't just tell the story of an empire, they hint at a Bronze Age world far more connected and far more cunning than we ever imagined. Off the coast of modern-day Gujarat, beneath the waves of the Arabian Sea, lies a discovery that blurs the line between myth and history: the sunken city of Dwarka. Ancient Hindu scriptures like the Mahabharata and Puranas describe it in vivid detail, a glittering metropolis of gold and silver, its streets lined with palaces and temples, its harbors bustling with ships from distant lands. For centuries, scholars dismissed these accounts as mere legend until marine archaeologists began pulling stones from the seabed. What they found was staggering. Submerged walls, intricate pottery, and even a carved seal depicting a three-headed animal, all dating back over 3,500 years. The ruins stretch nearly half a mile into the ocean, their layout eerily matching the descriptions in those ancient texts. But the real shock isn't just that Dwarka existed. It's the sophistication of its construction. The underwater structures show evidence of advanced hydraulic engineering, with channels and reservoirs designed to manage tides and floods. Artifacts recovered from the site include weights and measures standardized to a degree unseen in other contemporary Indian civilizations, suggesting a culture deeply engaged in trade and precision craftsmanship. Even more telling are the stone anchors, dozens of them, some weighing over a ton, scattered across the seabed. These weren't just for small coastal vessels. They hint at a port capable of hosting ocean-going ships, perhaps even facilitating voyages as far as Mesopotamia or the Persian Gulf. The timing of Dwarka's submergence adds another layer of mystery. Geological studies indicate a sudden rise in sea levels around 1500 BCE, a phenomenon corroborated by Hindu texts that speak of the city being swallowed by the sea in a single catastrophic event. But here's where it gets intriguing. The ruins show signs of multiple rebuilds, layers of construction stacked atop one another, as if the city was destroyed and resurrected several times before its final descent. Could this have been a hub so vital, so central to maritime networks, that its people kept returning despite the encroaching waves? Then there's the cultural footprint. Symbols found at Dwarka bear striking resemblances to those from the Harappan civilization, yet the city's layout reflects a distinct architectural style. Some researchers propose it was a bridge between two eras, a place where Harappan knowledge merged with new ideas from seafaring cultures. Even more provocative are the similarities to sunken cities elsewhere, like Japan's Yonaguni or Cuba's underwater megaliths. Could Dwarka have been part of a global coastal network, a chain of ports sharing not just goods but ideas? The most haunting question isn't whether Dwarka was real. It's what its existence implies about the sophistication of ancient maritime cultures. If a city this advanced could vanish beneath the waves, leaving only fragments and legends behind, what other metropolises might lie hidden in the ocean's depths? As the tides shift over these sunken stones, they whisper a tantalizing truth. Our maps of the ancient world are still missing pieces that might rewrite history itself. Rising from the grasslands of southern Africa, the stone towers of Great Zimbabwe stand as silent witnesses to a civilization that mastered wealth, trade, and architecture centuries before European explorers set foot on the continent. This sprawling complex, built between the 11th and 15th centuries, wasn't just a settlement, it was the heart of a kingdom that controlled gold, ivory, and trade routes stretching from the Indian Ocean to the African interior. The scale is staggering, walls over 30 feet tall, built without mortar, curve and climb with such precision that they've endured nearly 1,000 years of wind and rain. But the real mystery isn't just how they built it. It's why a society this advanced left no written records, only cryptic symbols carved into soapstone birds and hidden in the ruins' deepest chambers. Take the famous Zimbabwe birds, for instance. These enigmatic stone sculptures, each perched atop a meter-tall column, depict creatures with human lips and eagle-like features. No two are identical, yet all share a haunting symmetry that suggests ritual significance. Some scholars argue they represent royal lineage or spiritual guardians. Others point to their placement. Several were found facing east, toward the rising sun and the monsoon winds that brought traders from as far as Arabia and China. Could these birds have been more than art? Might they have served as coded markers, guiding merchants or signaling alliances in a network that spanned continents? The ruins themselves tell a story of global connections. Excavations have uncovered Persian glass, Chinese celadon pottery, and even fragments of Spanish silver, proof that Great Zimbabwe was no isolated kingdom. Its rulers didn't just trade goods, they traded ideas. The city's layout mirrors principles found in Swahili coastal towns and even distant Mesopotamian ziggurats, with tiered platforms and strategic sightlines that suggest an understanding of astronomy. The conical tower at the complex's center, often dismissed as a grain silo or symbolic phallus, aligns with celestial events so precisely that some researchers believe it functioned as a solar calendar, tracking seasons for agriculture and trade voyages. Yet for all its sophistication, Great Zimbabwe's downfall is as shrouded in mystery as its rise. By the 15th century, the city was abandoned, its people scattered, its knowledge seemingly lost. Portuguese explorers who later stumbled upon the ruins refused to believe Africans could have built them, spinning tales of biblical kings or phantom white civilizations. But the truth is far more compelling. The stones whisper of a society that mastered economics, diplomacy, and engineering, a society that chose to encode its secrets in symbols rather than words. Were they protecting something, or were they part of a broader tradition that relied on oral and visual knowledge, deliberately resisting the written word? As the wind hums through the empty passageways of Great Zimbabwe today, it carries a challenge to history's biases. These walls weren't just built to last. They were built to remind us that brilliance needs no alphabet, and that some of humanity's greatest achievements might still be waiting, silent, for us to decipher. Hidden deep in the sweltering jungles of Mexico's Gulf Coast, the Olmec colossal heads stand guard like silent sentinels of a forgotten age. Carved from single blocks of volcanic basalt, some weighing over 20 tons, these towering sculptures depict faces with broad noses, thick lips, and enigmatic expressions, each one crowned with what appears to be a padded helmet or headdress. But here's what makes them truly baffling. These heads aren't just art. They're portraits, each with unique facial features so distinct they could only have been modeled after real individuals. Who were these people, and why did the Olmec civilization, which flourished over 3,000 years ago, go to such extraordinary lengths to immortalize them in stone? The logistics alone defy belief. The basalt used for the heads was quarried from the Tuxtla Mountains, over 50 miles from where the sculptures were eventually placed. Without wheels or draft animals, the Olmec somehow transported these monstrous blocks through dense jungle and across rivers, a feat that would challenge modern engineers. Even more intriguing are the helmets. Some researchers argue they resemble protective headgear used in ball games or warfare, while others point to their uncanny similarity to ceremonial helmets found in distant cultures from the Amazon to Southeast Asia. Could these have been markers of an elite class with connections stretching far beyond Mesoamerica? Then there's the mystery of the subjects themselves. Unlike later Maya or Aztec rulers, who depicted themselves adorned with jaguar pelts or feathered headdresses, these figures wear streamlined, almost utilitarian headgear. One theory suggests they might represent players of the Mesoamerican ball game, a ritual sport with cosmic significance, but another, more provocative idea ties them to seafaring cultures. The Olmec were master navigators, with evidence of trade networks reaching as far as modern-day Guatemala and Honduras. Could their influence, or even their genetic lineage, have extended across oceans? Genetic studies of Olmec remains reveal traits atypical of indigenous Mesoamericans, including possible African or Polynesian ancestry, though these findings remain hotly debated. The most compelling clue might lie in what's missing. Despite their grandeur, the colossal heads show no signs of hieroglyphs or inscriptions, no names, no titles, no records of their power. This absence speaks volumes. In a world where later civilizations meticulously documented their rulers, the Olmec chose to communicate through sheer monumental presence. Were these heads meant to intimidate, to inspire, or were they part of a broader tradition of stone veneration, like the Moai of Easter Island or the statues of ancient Nubia? Today, as archaeologists uncover more heads, 17 have been found, with hints of others still buried. The enigma only deepens. These weren't just memorials. They were declarations carved in stone for eternity. And if the Olmec's legacy was deliberately left unspoken, what other secrets might still lie waiting beneath the roots of the jungle? High in Lebanon's Bekaa Valley, the ruins of Baalbek loom like a challenge to history itself. Here, massive stone blocks, some weighing over 800 tons, sit stacked with impossible precision, forming the foundation of what the Romans later called the Temple of Jupiter. But these stones aren't Roman. They predate the empire by thousands of years, their origins lost to time. The largest, known as the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, stretches 64 feet long and stands 19 feet tall. To put that in perspective, it's heavier than 3 fully loaded Boeing 747 jets, and it's not alone. Nearby lies an even larger block, nicknamed the Stone of the South, estimated at a staggering 1,650 tons, making it the largest known megalith ever quarried by human hands. How could ancient builders without cranes or hydraulics move stones this colossal? Conventional archaeology suggests they used ramps, ropes, and sheer manpower. But the numbers don't add up. Even with thousands of workers, dragging a 1,000-ton block across rough terrain would have been nearly impossible without pulleys or advanced leverage systems. Local legends offer an eerie alternative. Arab historians of the Middle Ages claimed the site was built by giants under King Solomon's command, while ancient texts hint that Baalbek was once called Heliopolis, the city of the sun, a name shared with Egypt's most sacred solar cult center. Could this have been more than coincidence? The plot thickens when you examine the stone's placement. The foundation layer's joints are so precise, so seamless, they resemble the masonry of Peru's Sacsayhuaman or Egypt's Giza plateau sites separated by oceans, yet united by uncanny construction techniques. Even more telling are the tool marks. Certain cuts show evidence of drill holes and saw lines so straight, they suggest the use of machinery or techniques far beyond the Bronze Age. Some theorists propose Baalbek was a global hub for ancient engineers, a place where master builders from distant cultures converged to share knowledge. What was so special about this location? Baalbek sits atop a vast limestone deposit, but its strategic position goes deeper. The site aligns with key celestial events, its temples oriented to capture solstice sunrises and lunar standstills. Beneath the Roman ruins, older structures hint at a sacred geometry, their layouts mirroring constellations or planetary orbits. Then there's the mystery of its water channels, intricate systems that suggest hydraulic engineering rivaling Rome's aqueducts, yet built millennia earlier. The greatest enigma isn't how Baalbek was constructed, but why. Was this a religious site, a fortress, or something more utilitarian? Unlike pyramids or ziggurats, its original purpose remains opaque. The Romans repurposed it, the Crusaders fortified it, and modern archaeologists still struggle to peel back its earliest layers. But one thing is clear, whoever built Baalbek's foundation didn't just want to impress. They wanted to endure, and as these megaliths silently defy the centuries, they whisper a tantalizing question: what other secrets might still lie buried beneath the dust of empires? On the most remote inhabited island on Earth, the stone giants of Rapa Nui stand frozen in time. The Easter island Moai, nearly 900 of them, dot the coastline like silent sentinels, their hollow eyes fixed not on the sea, but turned inward, watching over the island with an eerie, unblinking gaze. Each one is unique, carved from compressed volcanic ash with intricate details that suggest individual portraiture. But the real mystery isn't just their solemn presence. It's the sheer impossibility of their existence. How did a society with no metal tools, no wheels, and no written language transport 100-ton statues across miles of rugged terrain? And why position them with such deliberate precision, as if part of some grand, unspoken design? The logistics alone boggle the mind. The Moai were quarried from Rono Raraku, an extinct volcano where half-finished statues still cling to the slopes, frozen mid-creation. From there, they were moved somehow to ceremonial platforms called ahu, often miles away. Oral traditions speak of the statues walking to their destinations, guided by divine power. Modern experiments suggest the islanders may have used a rocking motion with ropes, inching the Moai forward like a wobbly parade. But even this theory can't fully explain how they maneuvered the largest statues, some standing over 30 feet tall and weighing as much as 250 tons. The effort would have required not just manpower, but an entire society working in perfect harmony: engineers, navigators, and laborers united by a shared vision. Then there's the question of their placement. Unlike most ancient monuments which face outward to impress visitors or ward off enemies, the Moai turned their backs to the ocean, their gaze fixed on the island's interior. Some researchers propose they were guardians, watching over villages or freshwater sources. Others point to their alignment with celestial events. Certain ahu platforms mark solstice sunrises or lunar standstills, hinting at an advanced understanding of astronomy. But the most compelling theory connects them to something far more profound: a lost communication network. The island's scattered clans were once linked by a complex system of paths, many leading directly to Moai sites. Petroglyphs found near the statues depict strange, repeating symbols, some resembling sound waves or vibrational patterns. Intriguingly, when struck, certain Moai produced deep, resonant tones, a phenomenon noted by early European visitors. Could these statues have functioned as acoustic beacons, their low frequencies carrying messages across the island's treeless landscape? The idea gains traction when you consider the Rapa Nui's own traditions. Their legends speak of the Moai's mana, a spiritual energy that could be harnessed by priests, perhaps a cultural memory of a technology we no longer understand. What silenced the Moai? By the 18th century, nearly all had been toppled, their platforms abandoned. Was it civil war, ecological collapse, or the arrival of outsiders that fractured this society? Or did the islanders themselves dismantle the system, realizing too late that their silent sentinels held the key to survival? As the wind whistles through the hollow eyes of these stone giants today, they seem to guard their secrets as fiercely as they once watched over the land. And if we could hear their voices, what warnings or wisdom might they share? The Moai don't just stand as monuments to a vanished culture. They're a testament to human ingenuity and a haunting reminder of how easily knowledge can slip through our fingers. Hidden deep within Jordan's desert canyons, the ruins of Petra rise like a mirage from the sandstone, a city carved not from stone but directly into it. This isn't just architecture, it's alchemy. The Nabateans, a nomadic tribe turned master builders, transformed sheer cliffs into towering facades, their surfaces alive with intricate carvings that echo Greek, Egyptian, and Mesopotamian styles. But here's what defies explanation. How did a desert outpost far from major trade routes become a melting pot of global influences? The answer might lie not in Petra's stones, but in the shadows between them. Walk through the narrow gorge that serves as Petra's gateway, and you're tracing the footsteps of ancient caravans. This slit in the rock, barely wide enough for sunlight to penetrate, was once a bustling artery for spices, silks, and, if the whispers are true, secrets. The Nabateans didn't just trade goods, they traded knowledge. Hidden chambers dot the cliffsides, some too small for storage, others perfectly positioned to eavesdrop on conversations below. Were these the meeting rooms of merchants or the listening posts of a nascent intelligence network? The city's water system adds to the intrigue. Over 200 cisterns and channels funneled scarce rainfall into a lifeline, but their engineering was so precise, so advanced, it rivals Roman aqueducts built centuries later. How did a desert tribe master hydraulics without outside help? Then there's the monastery, Petra's most enigmatic monument. Larger than the treasury and twice as remote, its facade bears symbols of Isis, Dionysus, and even distant Buddhist iconography, a spiritual collage that suggests travelers from across the ancient world gathered here. But the real shock lies in its alignment. During certain solstices, sunlight pierces the monastery's doorway, illuminating a hidden niche thought to hold sacred texts or relics. Was this a library for forbidden knowledge, a vault for maps and star charts traded between East and West? The Nabateans left no written records of their own, only cryptic graffiti in dozens of languages, as if the city itself was a cipher waiting to be decoded. Petra's sudden abandonment only deepens the mystery. By the 7th century, the city was empty, its aqueducts dry, its temples silent. Earthquakes and shifting trade routes explain part of its decline, but not the haste with which it was left. Some chambers show signs of deliberate sealing, their contents removed or hidden. Others contain odd artifacts, astrolabes, lenses, even fragments of manuscripts in scripts no one can place. Were the Nabateans not just merchants but curators of a shared ancient science, And if so, where did that knowledge go when the last caravans vanished into the desert? As the rose-red cliffs glow at sunset, they seem to hold their secrets tighter. Petra wasn't just a city. It was a crossroads in every sense of goods, of gods, and perhaps of minds. And if its stones could speak, they might tell us that the greatest trade routes weren't paved with gold, but with ideas. From Göbekli Tepe's towering pillars to Petra's rose-carved facades, these ruins aren't just isolated wonders, they're fragments of a story we're only beginning to piece together. The same celestial alignments appear in temples separated by oceans. Identical symbols surface in cultures with no recorded contact. Architectural techniques too advanced for their time echo across continents, as if whispered between builders who should have been strangers. The evidence is carved into stone, buried in layers of dust, and hidden in plain sight. Our ancestors were far more connected than history books admit. Was this the work of a forgotten civilization, a global network of scholars and engineers who mapped the stars and moved mountains? Or did distant cultures independently stumble upon the same cosmic truths, their hands guided by some universal instinct we've since lost? The answer might lie in the gaps, the missing links between these sites, the trade routes now submerged, the libraries burned to ash. Think of the Indus Valley's undeciphered script, the Olmec head's silent stares, the sudden abandonment of cities like Mohenjo-Daro and Tiahuanaco. These aren't just mysteries. They're breadcrumbs leading us toward a startling possibility that human history is older, deeper, and far more intertwined than we've dared to imagine. But here's the most thrilling part. This puzzle is still being solved. Every year, new technologies like LiDAR scanning and isotopic analysis reveal fresh clues. Drones uncover lost cities beneath jungle canopies. Divers stumble upon sunken ruins that rewrite maritime timelines. The past isn't static. It's a living thing, shifting with each discovery, daring us to question what we think we know. So what do you think? Were these sites linked by trade, by faith, or by something even more extraordinary? Drop your theories in the comments, because history isn't just written by experts. It's a conversation, one that grows richer with every voice that joins it. And if you're hungry for more deep dives into the mysteries of our world, hit that subscribe button. The next revelation might be just one excavation away. After all, the greatest discoveries often begin with a single question: what else is out there waiting to be found?